is kind of one of those things where, like, if anyone is ever like, oh, I could never do this, da, 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 like, just literally look at the things that around you that have come into being and into existence, and believe that if you are doing better than what is out there, that your thing will make it. So that's all I want to say. Merry meet and welcome to Plant-Based Laughter, where we go ahead and veganize our recipes. So today we're going to be working on the 20-year-old Twinkie. What's super interesting about this is I don't know what makes a Twinkie, because there's some interesting ingredients in this. So we're just gonna follow this recipe and hopefully it tastes like a Twinkie after. Also though, I won't be making the heavy whipping cream or the strawberries because I'm actually gonna use this as the pound cake for the meat trifles. So definitely stay tuned and subscribe to see how we work with that meat trifle. But otherwise, let's get started with this Twinkie. Merry meet again. So we're gonna get started with our dry ingredients. So we have our 2 cups of almond flour. And then we have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we have some polenta. So I was like, when I read polenta, I was like, oh, perfect. I've cooked polenta before, but it was through a food, what are they called? One of the like cooking delivery boxes that you do. It was Purple Carrot to be exact. And so they send you everything, and I was like, and that was probably, oh, that definitely was over 2 years ago now at this point. And I was like, oh yeah, polenta, I love polenta. And then I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this in the store, and I've only seen it in the store as this prepackaged version. And now after actually reading her things, I think I bought pre-cooked. So we're just gonna go with it. Also, they apparently, normally they have regular polenta, but apparently the sale that they were having this time was for the sun-dried tomato polenta. So we're just gonna lean into it because this is what we have. And I hope it doesn't affect the flavor of our Twinkie too much. But also, because as we already alluded to, we're gonna be using this for the meat trifle, I think this is gonna help that meat trifle just feel a little bit more put together. So we're gonna go ahead and just continue experimenting with this and open this up and mix all of this together. Yep. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is normally how polenta comes, because I couldn't find it and I can't remember what it looked like when I got it from Purple Carrot. So I guess let me know. Okay, so yeah, I definitely think this isn't right, but we're already here and we're just gonna follow the recipe. Also, nowhere on that packaging does it say that it's cooked polenta, so I don't know if it's just supposed to be obvious. Oh, I do know that this is very upsetting, because I do believe no matter what, it isn't supposed to be like this. So I'm gonna mix this all off camera because this isn't gonna be fun to look at, and I'm probably just gonna be frustrated, so I'd rather do it. I'd just rather get it done and not worry about this. Because this is just kind of embarrassing, to be honest. So we'll check in with you when we're doing our wet ingredients. All right, moving on to our wet ingredients. We're going to be doing, as always, our sugar. We have our eggs, which I'm using G eggs. I know we're not going to get the same like coloring because of it, so our Twinkie will probably look more like a lemon poppy muffin, but you know me, I have too much chia eggs and I need to get rid of them. Or chia seeds. And then we have lemon juice of 2 lemons, the zest of 1, and then we have a cup of butter. I set these out ahead of time so that they can be a little bit softer. That's why I decided not to chunk them up. Don't want the lemon juice to splash. Okay. Okay. So now we'll mix this up a little bit. It's not as soft as I would have liked, so that's exciting for me. I don't know if you can tell, probably you can, but I'm really like, kind of took me a minute to get to the kitchen today to do this, and I'm not really feeling too good. I also need to make sure it doesn't go through those holes, since why I couldn't just use a bowl that doesn't have to worry about that, I don't know. I would have rather creamed the butter and sugar together. Sorry, I'm like, when you like try to follow the recipe and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, let me do this. So I'm gonna go ahead, same thing as earlier, I'm gonna mix all this together and then we'll be back to join it together, especially since now my cat's eating. So I'm sure you don't want to hear that while I'm mixing. So we'll see you again soon. So I'm pretty sure for this recipe, you have to have a electric mixer, which is ridiculous. I don't believe that you have to have appliances to perform something as simple as a baking recipe, but like this refuses to actually condense down and meld with everything. And we know that I've done this before, so she didn't even call for the butter to be softened. Obviously I'm yelling because I'm very upset, so I apologize. You guys don't deserve that. But you should know this is probably going to be the worst recipe we've ever done on here. Yeah, so here is, because I've had to use a fork to the best of my ability for both to try to mash them up. So we're just going to go ahead and add the wet ingredients in here. Honestly, most baking recipes can be one bowl, one mix. I think this one, it would have been better, yeah, 100% not to have to do that, but we don't have that as an option. So I'm just going to go ahead, because I'm just going to bite the bullet. Like, I'm just getting more and more upset the more I like try to mix this. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to feel better. And I'm just having a really bad week. So I would love for this to at least mix and bake out. So what we're going to do, I'm going to mix this and I'm going to put it in these guys. It's supposed to make 1 8-inch. I don't have regular cake pans, as you guys know. I probably could have used the pie pan, I'm now realizing, but I think even that is more than 8 inches. These are both 4 inches, so we're just going to get 2. Since I'm going to use it for the trifle, I want it in layers anyway. But we will be back here and we will do a mini taste test, sans whipped cream. Yeah, I'll just see you guys later. Okay, so I had to come back because I just got so mad, and apparently I need to share it with you guys. So I have those 2 cake tins filled, not all the way to the top because it has baking powder, so I'm assuming it's going to rise. It is supposed to be a Twinkie. Twinkies are a baked good, and so I assume we're going to get a rise out of it. And I was like, okay, this is taking up a lot more than one would think. I think she meant an 8x8 square pan, which is ridiculous. I don't think she tested this recipe at all. And I think that's kind of an unfortunate theme in this book, is that either the recipes weren't tested, or she's the one who tested them and decided, like, didn't think through some steps, because there's some things, like, there's just some of these recipes just really, like, fall through the cracks. Anyways, I mean, congrats to them that they were able to publish a book, and it had an editor and everything, so I don't know. It kind of just, it's kind of one of those things where, like, if anyone is ever like, oh, I could never do this, da da da, like, just literally look at the things that around you that have come into being and into existence, and believe that if you are doing better than what is out there, that your thing will make it. So that's all I want to say. I know I've read books before and been part of a podcast where very similar notes were just like reading a book. I was like, wow, congrats, they got this published, but I don't know how, and things like that. But anyways, I'm in a very bad mood. This is probably the worst you're ever gonna see me, hopefully. We'll see what happens in life. But we have it preheating at 375. This is just gonna be a thin layer cake, and then the other 2 I'll still have in use for the meat trifle. So anyways, check back here later when we're doing a full-on taste test. Maybe I will make the whipped cream. Probably not, because I'm too mad. Merry meet and welcome. So here we are with our very final thing. As you see, I kind of tried to do whipped cream without the mixer. It is a little bit harder, especially since I barely had any conviction to do it at all. Honestly, I just had some extra coconut cream, so I was like, might as well try. But and then it's strawberries. So this really keeps making me think of like strawberry shortcakes, because I feel like with a Twinkie, like you normally wouldn't like eat all this stuff, but you need the cream because that technically would be the cream filling. But the strawberries, I think, are just like something nice and extra to add freshness to it. I don't. Anyways, I'm obviously in a great mood. Thank you for being here. But I did want to say, so it tastes absolutely nothing like a Twinkie, and I didn't change enough in the recipe for it not to do those parts, unless a Twinkie really tastes a lot like egg. But I looked up some other like homemade Twinkie recipes, and none of them use polenta. So and you can really taste the polenta, not just because of my own mess up. It has corn in it, and Twinkies don't have cornmeal in them. So it does taste good, I will say that, with the lemon. So it is a nice little cake, and with the whipped cream and strawberries, it does really still like bring it together for just this really nice dessert that has some extras in it. But I just really can't get over the fact that it's nothing like a Twinkie. Yeah. I would not recommend doing this recipe unless you needed to use polenta for something. That would be my only reason for ever really recommending making this, because it just has not been a joy to make. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and somewhat enjoy this treat finally, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for being here.